Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo, and it's great to be on this show where we discuss all things books. It's just books, and books on this show. What an exciting ride we've had, just talking to writers and authors and publishers and people in the books space over the years. It's been fantastic. And here we are again. And our guest on this episode is a very special one. He's one that I admire personally, and he's done great things at such a very young age. He's defined the new Nigeria in many ways, and he has continued to write. This is not his first book. You will hear more about this. But let's get to meet with a very special guest. I simply like to call Chude. You all call him Chude too. Chude is here with us on this show, and he's here to discuss his latest book titled How Depression Saved My Life. Now, this is not going to be one episode. It's going to spill over into 2 episodes because it's just packed full of so much takeaways. Enjoy this.
Chude Jideonwo is a media entrepreneur, filmmaker, and author. Chude's 25-year career spans advertising, public relations, television, radio, print, and digital media. In 2016, he stepped away from his roles as the co-founder and CEO of Red for Africa and founded Joy Incorporated. Chude has been a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree, CNBC Young Business Leader of the Year, an Archbishop Desmond Tutu Fellow, and a World Fellow at Yale University. He is the author of Are We the Turning Point Generation? And How to Win Elections in Africa, Parallels with Donald Trump. Chude joins Channels Book Club to discuss his newest book, How Depression Saved My Life.
Chude, nice to have you on Channels Book Club.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you again.
Yes, the preeminent book show in the country. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm going to remind you of something. I didn't tell you this before, but I'm going to remind you of something. 2013, May 2013.
Okay.
I interviewed you on this show.
Right.
Those were the earliest days of this show, okay? So I'm going to show you this just to remind you the way we both looked. Now, the thing is, you don't look so different now. But I'm a different beast right now.
The beard, the hair, the glasses. Amazing. Oh, wow.
So,
I remember.
Yeah, that was 2013.
Yes, I remember. Oh, that was such a blast.
I'm very different now. Now, so why have you not grown a beard?
A beard. I actually did.
You did.
I grew a beard and I grew an afro. But it was so, because I had my, so I have this picture with Wole Soyinka, one of my favorite pictures ever. So Professor Prof had, then I also had my, then after I did it, I'm like, okay, I've achieved my goal. It was so stressful to maintain. It was so stressful to maintain. I liked the look, but I didn't like the work.
People ask me what happened. So 2018, I was very ill. Very, very ill. I didn't shave and all that. So one day I just looked in the mirror and I said, I'm not going to shave again. This will keep reminding me of how valuable life is.
Yes, amazing.
And so here you are.
Oh, that's a powerful story. I love when there are powerful stories behind benign things.
So anytime I look at the mirror, I just remember how valuable life is.
Love it.
Anyway, that's by the way. I wanted to remind you of our meeting then. That's Kumi, by the way.
Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, in the middle there. We were talking about Achebe's book. Can you remember?
Yes. The last book, the last book that he used to scatter the ground and he left.
Yes, the country.
I remember that. That was a beautiful conversation. Because it's still that's still one of my favorite books ever about the Nigerian condition.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Great book. Yes, great book. Okay. But here we are. How Depression Saved My Life.
Yes.
Today, this is one of the best books I've read in a long time.
Wow, thank you.
It is.
Thank you.
It is deeply philosophical. It's intellectual. it's real, because it seemed to me like you set out to bare your heart, to tell your story, regardless of how anybody felt. It seemed like you were ready to be embarrassed.
I love that.
Yeah, basically. Let me just say it as it is.
Yeah.
And from a reader's point of view,
Right.
those are the most powerful stories. When books are real, when you can perceive that the author is real,
Yeah.
rather than just trying to show off. So I really like your book. The writing, everything.
Thank
it's
you.
really good.
I appreciate
And I noticed from this that you wrote your first book when you were in, was it secondary school or what?
Yes. I published my first book when I was in secondary school. I wrote my first book when I was 10.
Wow. That was it. I saw it. I said,
Yes.
this is crazy. I mean, when you were 10.
Yes, my first book, but I wrote the book that was published. My first published book, I wrote it when I was 13, and it was published when I was 15.
Wow.
Yes.
One of the things you try to establish early in this book is how pacey your life was. So reading that, I said, oh, okay, that's another testimony, because you achieved so much before 30. Tell me a bit about that and why you wrote that.
Right. So for two reasons, well, three reasons actually. So first, a bit about that. No, let me do the reasons. The first reason was I've done so much in my life that some of them I'd even forgotten. That it was when I was doing, I'm like, oh, I did the IVLP, the US government search. I'd even forgotten that was my first trip to America. And I remember that because I remember coming back. I mean, I grew up, I never traveled out of the country until my father passed when I was 24, 25. And I remember coming back from America and thinking to myself, I visited like 5 states, and I said to God, if I die now, I've accomplished all I need to accomplish in this life. and this was such an important moment for me, but I had forgotten it because I had done so much. And so for me, it was interesting to remember the things that I had forgotten, and to think about the frenetic life I had in my teens and 20s, because I was going so fast that I didn't even have time to breathe. And so I was thinking about the NMMAs, Nigerian Media Merit Award, that Channels has won 2 million times. And I thought, what I won the NMMA at 23 or 24. So for me, that was for me. I thought it was good to recall it, if not I would forget. That's number one. Number two, for storytelling purposes, it seems to make sense to build up the climb.
Yeah, know where I'm coming from.
Yes, people can see how deep, how steep the fall, as it was. So those two were important. One was for myself, just to remember, for myself, and to even I say this in a non-pretentious way, even just to honor how life has taken me on its journey, and just to remember. And I always say I enjoy my life now, but those years were some of the most fun of my life. Most fun of my life. So there's those two things. So, and then also I thought it was for a story. I thought the setup.
Yeah, set it
so
up.
It's like that something is coming.
Yeah, set it up. Good setup.
Yes, good setup.
Good setup.
Yes.
Okay, now I think I'm getting ahead of.
Right.
Let's get back to how depression saved my life.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this topic? It's an intriguing topic. And by the way, I like the way it's written, the font style. Was that your idea or your publisher's idea?
No, it was my publisher's idea. They sent me 3 covers, but they were lying. They knew that this was the cover. They knew what was going to get me. The other 2 covers were just, let's send you. Immediately I saw it, I couldn't believe how perfect the cover was. Like if I was vomiting the cover from my mind,
this is what you have come up with.
The cover.
Why do you like it?
So 3 things. First is it feels a bit playful. Okay. Yeah, it's not the fonts are not heavy. Yeah,
you don't like them heavy.
I don't like them heavy. I think life is heavy enough as it is. And then I like how they just differentiated first, yellow is my favorite color. Okay. So I don't know how the designer, who I've never met, must have known that. And then I like how they now made depression serious without making it scary.
Red.
Yes, that's just that.
Underlined.
It was just perfect. I just loved it immediately.
It's fantastic.
And Anwale, who is one of my publishers, is always boasting with the cover. He said, "Chude, it's a beautiful book, even if I say so myself."
Okay. Yes. Okay, fantastic. So, Viewers out there curious, what's this book about?
I like that. Thank you for asking. This book is about what happens when the worst thing happens in your life. When the worst thing, it's not just depression, if it's divorce, if it's the loss of a child, the loss of a job, being broke, falling ill. What do you do when the worst thing happens to you? Can you survive it? And how can you survive it if you can? That's what the book is about.
And for you, the worst thing was depression.
Yes, the worst thing was depression. Worst thing still is depression.
And, one of the things, Chude, there's so many things in this. You are so loaded, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's so many things in this book,
Yeah.
that got me thinking. And, so one of the things I didn't realize, and I say this, I'm embarrassed to say.
Okay.
I didn't really grasp depression, how deadly it is, until I read this book. Honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't. It was when I was reading, I just
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
come to think of it, this thing is not just how deadly it is, how common,
It is.
how rampant it is.
Yes.
Please tell us a bit about that.
I write in the book, and you must have seen that, where I said, if I hadn't gone through it, I would not have understood it. I would have been one of those people who would be like, you are being a bit dramatic. I mean, yes, okay, feel it, but let's come out of it. You see, and there are two things. One of the beauties of writing this book, is that I also want to differentiate between sadness, which I say is necessary,
Sadness.
depression, which I say is aggravated sadness, and clinical depression, which is an illness. Yeah, I want to differentiate between those three. And depression and clinical depression can almost have the same effect on people. Yeah. And I describe it in the book that what people don't understand about depression is that it's like your mind has caved in. And when people say it's all in your mind, they don't understand that it's your mind you used to live life.
It's your mind.
It's your mind you used to love your wife. It's your mind you used to love your children. It's your mind you used to dream about the future even when you are poor today. It's your mind you used to hope. It's your mind. So when your mind is no longer available,
Everything is gone.
everything is gone. Everything is gone. You can be strong and energetic. Then I tell people, imagine this: you are strong, you are climbing the stairs, you are strong and energetic. You remember a problem in your life, you stop on the staircase. You still have physical energy, you are still healthy, but a memory in your mind stops you. Imagine that is your reality for days, weeks, months, years for some people. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, I say our mind is our central processing unit. Imagine if you're a computer. Imagine if you're a car and your engine knocks.
Yeah.
That's what the mind is. It's the worst thing a human being can experience.
Yeah.
It's almost like you cannot imagine the future. So I think when people say, I write in the book, I say when people say, but there is hope. For a person in depression, there is no hope. They do not have the capacity to imagine hope.
Yeah.
They cannot see the future. They cannot imagine the future. So you cannot even, at least if you can imagine the future, you can see how it can be bright.
Yeah.
The mind is dead, it's paralyzed. So you cannot imagine the future. It's a horrible thing.
No, I'm going to ask you to describe chapter 4 soon.
Okay.
But I think your context is very, very important for the everyday person. I found it very important. The context that you try to place your experience, which, taking you back to where we started this conversation, you were upwardly mobile. You were awards, international awards, local awards, everywhere. You were everywhere. I was looking at you from afar, like, wow, okay, nice one. So you were everywhere. You were in the faces of people. You typified success for the young Nigerian. That is Future Awards thing going on, and so many other great things going on. So on the surface, and that was the context you were trying to paint. On the surface, you embodied success, everything, all the boxes, ticked, yeah. But
yeah.
Is that what usually happens?
It's not what usually happens, but it's what can happen, and it's happening for so many people. Yeah, I tell people that it doesn't need to happen to a lot of people for it to be important. Yeah. It's only needed for it to happen to somebody. Yeah, even if a lot of people don't understand it. But for many successful people, it might not be depression. What I described as low-grade unhappiness. Low-grade unhappiness. I was telling at my book reading in Abuja, I was saying to them that actually, when you look at the data globally, poor people, funny enough, lower income people, because many of them are rich in all kinds of other ways. Yeah. Lower income people are often less likely to deal with clinical depression.
Often less likely.
Less likely. And
even though they don't have as much money.
Yes, and poorer nations, on the average, there's no. If you look at depression rank numbers, poorer nations don't automatically have more depression than richer nations. And the reason is simple. So I say to people that, and I don't know the reason, but some researchers have hypothesized that is because if you are dealing with the realities of life, you don't have the time to spend in your mind. You are bodied. You are living in your body.
Yeah.
You have 5 kids, you're a bricklayer, you're taking your children to school. Your mind doesn't have the time to accelerate negative thoughts because you are dealing with life.
Yeah.
But when you are rich and wealthy and successful, you have enough time to ruminate, to think.
So there's a higher tendency.
This is a hypothesis. And so for many wealthy people, 2 things happen. For many successful people, many of us were taught that once we become rich, famous, and powerful, we'll be happy.
Okay.
Many of us were taught that on some level, or if you get one of them, especially money.
Yeah.
So you are trained on a philosophy that you assume to be true.
Yeah.
You now get there and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And most times you suffer to get there. You killed your body, you strained your body, you damaged your relationships, you pushed people, you made enemies, you sacrificed so much to get this holy grail.
Yeah.
That was supposed to now make you feel, I've arrived. You get there, you don't get it, you get an existential panic. You're like, if this doesn't deliver, then what will make me happy? You start struggling because it didn't work.
Yeah.
All that pain, all that sacrifice, all that hard work, it leads to an existential panic.
And like you quoted, what's the name of that famous actor,
Jim Ike?
No, the
Jim
American,
Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Is it Carrey?
Yes.
It was that guy.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
the famous American comedian.
Yes.
That he in your book, I saw a quote where he said he wished that everybody could attain
wealth,
fame, and wealth, and then realize that those things don't solve the problem.
Yes, they don't. That's it.
It's something like that.
Yes, he says, I wish everybody would be wealthy, famous, rich, so they will realize that it will not make them happy. Because it's a big issue. So you're going to ask me a question?
Yeah, I was going to say that what you wrote, I think the specific words you used, or maybe something close to that, was that despite all that, you felt some kind of emptiness.
Hollowness.
Yes.
Hollowness.
Yes. That's what you felt, right?
Yes, that's that existential. It feels like there's a hole. And what was fascinating to me, this life is so fascinating. Like you say, this life is deep. When I began to read about depression and read about the greats in the Greek and Hebrew literature and the Bible, I realized that this was not uncommon. This hollowness is a staple of high-achieving people through the 6,000 years of recorded history. You're reading about Abraham Lincoln saying that, talking about depression and thinking, I hate being alive. Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents ever. Then I began to think about Apostle Paul in the Bible saying, we despaired of life itself. It began to make sense to me. I began to think about in the Christian Bible, no, in the Hebrew Bible, Elijah. He has just finished disgracing prophets. Essentially, as a prophet, the peak of his career, made a show of the royalty, made a show of his competition. He's supposed to be on top of the world. He goes into the desert, he wants to kill himself. Yeah. And so the more I read, the more I began to realize this is a familiar human condition. This was not a hidden secret. This is Socrates and Pythagoras and all these guys. This is Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, dripping droplets of blood. So I realized that this hollowness is a very familiar feeling for high-achieving people. Because for many of them, again, they were taught, like, again, just using the Bible, it's not as if the Bible, like Jacob cheated his brothers, stole his brother's birthright, did all of these things, thinking that then his brother is happier than him. Then he's having nightmares, he's wrestling with God. So you thought that all those things were going to give you something, were going to make you feel something. You threw everything at it. At least if you've not achieved it, you can say it is because you've not achieved it. But when you've achieved it, you feel empty because you realize I climbed that mountain for nothing.
Wow. Okay. Chude, let me read from page 33.
Okay.
You wrote here, the mind is such a powerful muscle that it can alter physical reality in such dramatic ways. It was for me the beginning of understanding what researchers have known for centuries. The mind is the all-consuming operating system for our lives. Yeah. When people say it's all in your mind to minimize problems, they are making a mistake, because the mind is where all the action is. It doesn't matter what reality is saying if your mind feels differently. Yeah. That's the whole point of mental illness. I think that's what we were trying to say just now, right? This captures everything we're trying to say.
Yes. That's even if that's what you're saying, I'm like, did I write that?
You did write it. You wrote it. You wrote it. Okay, so so you were describing here what was going on in your world, the outside world, and what was going on in your mind at the same time. Yeah. So there's always that, many times in our experiences, that either lack of sync going on. Something is happening outside, something else is happening inside. But nobody can see our inside. We can see our inside. But at some point or another, it then manifests, right? That's what you've been saying.
Yes, absolutely. That it will affect. It's like grief. I quote one of the most popular researchers into grief, and he said, emotions need motion. And I say to people, this is literally what happens usually. If you lose a loved one, if you lose someone, and if you lose a relationship and you don't mourn it, you go to work because you don't have time for the mourning, it will disgrace you. One day it will come out. You'll be in a board meeting, you start crying. You'll be on the road driving, you have to park. Because the emotion is there. It needs to come out. We human beings, we are emotional machines. We're like a machine. The machine has an operating manual.
Yeah.
And emotions must move. If you lock them in, they have to come out. So for many of us, and then what happens that most of the time, and this is why I feel like there's a lot of dysfunction in many of our social and economic lives, social and emotional lives. Fathers who are intimidating their children, bullying them, screaming when they should be talking to them. It's all because we have so many emotions locked in.
You were with Jonathan.
Yes.
Chibok happened.
Yes.
Then that shattered you.
Yes.
Then fast forward.
Yeah.
You were with APC, you pushed Buhari in, and then suddenly Buhari wasn't delivering like you thought.
Yeah.
So those two experiences combined to break you in a way that was...
Politically, I've not spoken openly about any candidate I support since the Buhari election.
Did you find it very embarrassing?
No, I did find it embarrassing. I found it... Embarrassing wasn't the word, because embarrassing means that I was worried about how it looked to other people. No. Yeah. I was worried about my own political philosophy. Like, what do I believe?
That was loaded, wasn't it? Well, get a copy of this book, How Depression Saved My Life. I really, really enjoyed reading this book, really. It's packed, as you would have observed. But we're not done with the conversation yet. Stay glued to your screen. Stick to this show, Channels Book Club, as we continue that conversation with Chude. Meanwhile, get yourself a copy of this book, read it, and send us your comments through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.